The greatest anime story arcs have a really weak and lame underdog, coming back and showing everybody just how insanely overpowered they really are. We know you've seen the classics, so we've got a collection here you probably haven't checked out already. Welcome back to Animeology as we run through our collection of the top action fantasy anime with an unbelievably overpowered underdog. Number 10, Mushibugyo. A really well-made action fantasy series that really reaches new levels of cool with its samurai-type fights under the surface. This awesome series has seen a number of manga runs as well as a video game adaptation, but the anime itself is really the highlight of this franchise. Mushibugyo is set in the old-school Edo period of Japan and strives for some kind of historical accuracy, but adds a number of awesome fantasy twists. We learn that these giant insect monsters known as Mushi started showing up and killing people. As you can imagine, everyone is horrified and fearful of these scary beasts. The shogunate has no choice but to find a solution to this giant insect problem and starts up this department known as the City Patrol, a collection of powerful warriors that are willing to take on and defeat the Mushi insects in battle. We learn of a young and happy samurai by the name of Jinbei Tsukishima, the newest member of this elite squad of samurai, facing off against these violent beasts and protecting innocent civilians from these dangerous monsters. Number 9, the Faraway Paladin. Starting off as a user-made novel and then seeing insane levels of success as both a light novel and as a manga, it's finally time to see the Faraway Paladin get made in what we assume is going to be an absolutely brilliant anime series. Set in a strange time in a city of the dead, we learn of a single human child by the name of Will. Raised by 3 undead, it's clear to see Will's influences. A powerful skeletal warrior, a graceful mummified priestess, and a mysterious spectral sorcerer all pour their love and teachings into the boy. The story kicks off with Will realizing that he's a human and unlike his parents. He starts asking himself some very heavy questions about his past and has no choice but to depart on an epic adventure across this post-apocalyptic land. Meeting interesting characters through his travels and learning a lot about the interesting world around him as well as about himself. Join Will as he journeys on the path to becoming a true paladin. Number 8, 7 Senses of the Reunion. A brilliant fantasy series that is quite unlike any other, seeing a huge level of success as a light novel before finally being turned into a seriously brilliant anime series. This series brings some innovative changes to the classic isekai-type video game series. Set in 2034, we learn of the extremely popular video game known as Union, ruled by a group of legendary players that were all school friends. One day, one of the friends actually had a heart attack and dies. The video game itself is blamed and quickly shut down. The story kicks off around 6 years later with the new game being released. Extremely similar to the original, Haruto Amo, our MC, logs back in and finds his friend that died 6 years ago, still in the video game world. Haruto brings together the original group of friends back together once more to unravel the true mystery of what exactly is going on here. Number 7, how a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. Now, this is a series that is hard not to love. If you haven't checked it out, then we highly recommend you give it a go. Taking a look at the isekai genre and really flipping it on its head, the process of rebuilding a kingdom is something we'd all love to be a part of. Following Kazuya after being summoned to deal with the threat of a demon lord, our hero decides not to go adventuring and fighting, but rather to sit as king of the realm. Using his sheer political power, Kazuya starts making big changes in order to make this magical isekai world a more pleasant world for everyone to live in. A really fun and unique spin on the classic isekai high fantasy battle animes, and taking a step back looking at the management and running of these kingdoms. The plot thickens as we learn of a civil war and a battle of nations. Number 6. Guilty Crown. An absolutely fantastic series with some strong action scenes, pushed forward by its brilliantly unique dystopian setting and an extremely mature and winding tale of political misjustice. A thriller like no other and a modern classic. Guilty Crown is an anime series you absolutely need to check out. We follow Shu Oma, a high schooler that comes across some insanely high powers, thrown into a secret shadow war that operates under the surface between underground groups and governmental conspiracy agencies, looking to overthrow nations and maybe even the planet. Alongside that is the slow burn reveal of the world and the true history behind the planet and our hero, as we slowly start to learn more and more, with heightening tensions. Guilty Crown is a thrill ride from scene to scene. There's barely a moment to rest and relax in this fast-paced and high-octane series that will easily go down as one of the greatest anime series of all time. Number 5. Kuroko's Basket. A brilliant mix of sports and comedy, the series chooses not to head towards a traditional tournament and competitive aspect, but rather focuses on the core cast of characters and their return to greatness. Telling the story of the Teiko Junior High School basketball team, an all-star squad that dominated the Japanese basketball scene, winning the Nationals 3 years in a row. These star players have since split up into separate middle schools. We follow one of these retired legends attending a high school with a poor basketball performance. Coming out of the shadows once again, Kuroko, the old legend, and Kagami, a naturally talented young player, are looking to bring this underdog school to become one of the greatest in the country, overcoming a number of challengers along the way. Number 4. Phi Brain, Puzzle of God. An awesome adventure series that actually had a very successful run. Phi Brain and his brilliant core concept was more than just blind action, but tried to really challenge its viewers through a number of interesting puzzles and thought-provoking plot developments. As such, the series saw a lot of episodes, and is considered superior to the original manga by many, and has also led to a reasonable successful video game that we definitely had a blast playing back in the day. We meet Kaito Daimon, a high schooler that absolutely loves puzzles. One day, Kaito and his friend, Nonoha, come across a really hard puzzle that is said to be unsolvable, called the Philosopher's Puzzle and made by a mysterious puzzle group that wants to harm people. Our hero Kaito gets the title of Solver and is joined by more and more solvers, and they face off against this mysterious puzzle group all over the world. Number 3. Gleipnir. Upon release, this was one of the most anticipated animes to come out. Taking a closer look, it's clear to see why. This show follows the story of Kaguya Shuichi, a normal high school student in a boring town. However, one day when he noticed that his classmate was stuck in a warehouse fire, he discovered that he had a mysterious power. Nope, it's not pyrokinesis or some sort of water ability like a typical anime. He discovers that he has the power to transform into a furry dog. Bear with me here. This new form gives him an unbelievable amount of brute strength and abnormally strong sense of smell, all while being armed with an oversized revolver. After sharing his secret with the girl he saved, it turned out that she was a sadistic and utterly twisted person who then used this info to put our protagonist on a leash, no pun intended. Despite becoming a monster, Kaguya continues to hold on to his humanity, but how long do you think he'll last? Gleipnir is a series quite unlike most others, an interesting story with some strong characters, but a core concept that is quite unlike any other. This is one of the few anime with a literal underdog. Number 2. Alice in Borderland OVA. Squid Game was an international sensation around the world last year, with millions around the planet loving the Korean series that had random people from around Korea competing in a series of dangerous games and risking their lives for a lot of money. Alice in Borderland is a Japanese manga that follows a very similar concept. Since turned into a highly successful live-action science fiction television show on Netflix, Alice on Borderland actually boasts an OVA that true fans claim is the greatest adaptation of the original work. Alice in Borderland is more so a supernatural horror than anything else. With some intense action survival moments and mountains of suspense piled into it, the OVA is a 3-part series with some fantastic animation work and brilliant social commentary. It's clear to see why the Alice in Borderland OVA is one of the greatest released in recent times. Number 1. Dororo. Although Dororo started entertaining anime and manga fans from as early as 1967, there is a reason that people are still checking out and remaking this epic series. There are few pieces of work that really blend these elements of dark and historical fantasy in such a unique and engaging way, telling the story of a ronin and a young orphan thief and set during the seminal Sengoku period of Japan. This ronin was born malformed, limbless, and without any face or organs. This is due to his father making a deal with demons for wealth and prosperity. The ronin was set adrift, away from his family, but was discovered by a medicine man using healing magic and fake limbs from dead children from the war, creating a near-immortal ronin warrior. An epic tale about these two unlikely partners that are brought together in a grim and unforgiving time in Japan's history, with threats far more horrifying than merely human. Strange supernatural entities, goblins, and demons, told through some of the greatest character pairings in any anime series.